fucking war going on right now. There's a crazy war going on right now in Russia, and in Ukraine. I spent the last day and a half watching videos on it, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, and it's complicated. It's really complicated. But what it seems is that Russia is worried that Ukraine has massive reserves of oil and of gas. And so Russia took over Crimea, and Crimea, it denies them access to a lot of their coastline when Russia did that. And then Ukraine was apparently, they were trying to, or at least in talks to join NATO. I'm sorry if I fuck any of this up, because I'm just remembering what I read and what I watched in videos. But what they're essentially saying is that Crimea and Ukraine, like they want that for the natural resources, and also because if that was NATO owned, if they were a part of NATO rather, then they could park missiles in Ukraine and point them towards Russia. It's wild shit.
That's what I was reading. Basically,
they used to all be in the same country. Not that long ago. They were all
NATO
part
and
of the
Russia
Soviet
obviously
Union.
don't get along, so it's like, if there's a sovereign nation being like, hey, like flirting with NATO, they're like, no, I don't want your military bases here.
It's
like,
it's obviously horrific.
That's going to create World War III.
It's obviously horrific. I'm not in any way saying that I'm on the side of the Russians in any way. I'm definitely not. But what I'm saying is like this is what's going on. It's like I'm just trying to relay the information as I know it, as what the conflict is, without a judgment. I'm not making any judgment. I see all these people making these judgments on whether or not this is a good war or a bad war, and I'm like, man, how much do we know? How much time has anybody spent studying Ukraine, Russian?
No such thing as good war.
No such thing.
You know
no
what I mean? Like that's
right.
an oxymoron. That's crazy.
When you got missiles, they're firing into apartment buildings. Like, there's no way those are the good guys. When you shoot a missile in a fucking apartment building, like, what the fuck is
If you're not valuing life, you can't be a good person.
Shit, the U.S. do it all the time.
And
that's the point. But Joe, this is what I was going to get to. Somebody put a chart up, which is wild, of all of the airstrikes that happened over the last, 48 hours.
Obama.
Dude, they're constantly going on. These airstrikes, and the wild thing is the drone move. Yeah. The drone move is like you can be in war and you're not even really there.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to have a reason to enter a country. And you could launch missiles from robots. Right. And you could be in Nevada, bro, with an Xbox controller.
Controlling it.
Just murdering people.
Well, if you're smart, you've played video games against someone who really knows how to use one of those fucking controllers. Yeah. If you had a guy and he really knew his shit, wouldn't you recruit him to work for the fucking army?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also been saying this about peeping Toms. Get you a drone, bro. Stay in your mom's basement. You know what I mean? Don't go in the trees and the bushes.
Don't go giving him any ideas.
My bad.
But for real, if they can make a drone that would respond the same way an Xbox controller would respond, who is gonna beat Americans?
Nobody.
We just have robot wars.
We have the best. Yeah, exactly.
But actually, who's the best at Xbox? Is there one country, Jamie? You would know this. Is there one country that dominates at
I think
Call of Duty?
Isn't it Korea?
Oh, they dominate a lot of video games.
Yeah,
Korea dominates it a lot.
But it's like those E-leagues, right? I think those kids
They
kill
fill
it.
stadiums over there.
They do.
Stadiums.
That's crazy.
With people playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did it with StarCraft and what country kicks the most ass at video games? Let's go
hard to say the game. Yeah, I mean, Call of Duty.
Okay, let's go Call of Duty because that's the most.
It's mostly an American-based game, but they're playing it in every country, and there's people that cheat in every country, so you couldn't cheat when you're doing drone strikes and stuff. So
of course you could. That's the thing.
Well,
that would be perfect. You would want to cheat.
I mean, you could, but that's not cheating. That's just
shit?
Drone striking. That's not cheating. That's just using all advantages.
Tell them to do the war in the metaverse. You know what I mean?
The thing is, if you can get a person to do it, there are dudes that are so goddamn good with those controllers. They play so many video games. All they would have to do is make a video game sort of interface where the guy is watching the drone looks like it's in a video game, and he would never miss.
Never.
Hell no.
It'd just be lighting people up.
They already got that shit.
What?
I'm
sure they
the
do.
shit he talking about.
Yeah,
I'm sure
they're already
do,
doing
right?
it. Yeah, I mean, we have propaganda for it. Don't we have ads about join the army, you can do this kind of a thing.
The more
Play video
I pay
games and kill
attention,
people.
the more I think these UFO sightings, a lot of these UFO sightings are military aircraft they're developing. The more I think about it, the more I think about how willing they are to talk about it. They're willing to talk about the fact that, that there are these ships that they can't track and they're moving at insane rates of speed. They're willing to talk about it. It's like one of two things. Either it's aliens or they've developed some kind of crazy technology, some anti-gravitational technology.
I think it's aliens.
It could be, but it might not be. That's the thing. It's like we can develop a lot of shit. We can develop nuclear power. We can develop nuclear missiles, hypersonic jets that go faster than the speed of sound, spaceships. We could develop a lot of shit. If they could just figure out a way to develop something that distorts gravity. Because this has always been the thought of it. Like a thing that can distort gravity can act instead of like Bob Lazar talked about this when he talked about back engineering UFOs. Instead of like blowing fire out of the back of a rocket, there's something that just distorts gravity. It can go to a place almost instantaneously.
Yo, we need that.
They're gonna figure that out, man.
Because airplanes and air travel is weak right now. Give me that shit.
It'll be instantaneous.